7:45. Welcome back to First Step right here on CTV. Right now we have in studio our friends from the Unit Trust Corporation, always here to give us sound financial advice. In studio, the marketing manager for UTC, Lisa Marie Veau Best, who is to my immediate right, and also investment center manager Simone Downer. Ladies, good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning. You both look quite beautiful and snazzy this morning. I realize it's one of the prerequisites to working at the Unit Trust Corporation. Anyway, we're talking about diversification.
Yes.
And in case you missed the diversification of one's portfolio, how important is that in terms of providing stability for your investments? Let's start with you.
Well, good
Lisa.
morning, Paul, and thank you again for having us. The Unit Trust Corporation, as you know, is always seeking ways to educate its investors on financial planning. And today we're delving into the discussion of diversification for investors. And essentially what that means is not putting all your eggs in one basket. So diversification from a financial standpoint essentially is spreading your investment among multiple asset classes so that if there's any downturn in any particular area, it mitigates against any exposure to risk in the long term.
So you protect yourself.
Correct.
Basically,
exactly.
That's what you're doing.
Yes.
Let's bring Simone into the conversation. What should investors consider in terms of diversification at different stages of their investment life?
Absolutely.
Let's just start with a new investor, 20 years old or so, just starting one's work life.
Sure. And I mean, this is something that's critical. It's really important. And we as financial providers, this is how we look at your lifespan when we are speaking to diversification. Because we need to remember that a 20-year-old and a 60-year-old, we'd have to give them different portfolios.
Because they have different needs.
Absolutely. They have different lifespans. Some are young, some are more matured. They are reaching at their peak of maturity, and therefore
have different investment goals.
Absolutely.
One would have owned one's house, one was just starting to invest in house and car and stuff.
Absolutely. So at 20 years old, your life is basically now starting. But what is important also is your income. Okay, because a 20-year-old who's making $1,000 and a 20-year-old who's making $20,000, of course we would look at different options for them. Therefore, when you're now starting off, you tend to not look at long term, but we will guide you in the direction you need to put aside for long retirement. At some point in time, you may have children, and therefore you would want to look at their education needs. You look at therefore we have short-term investments to help you in that direction.
That you have access to pretty quickly.
Absolutely. We have the medium-term investment, which are like our equity funds, our growth and income, because we understand that you need these different type of products along your lifespan.
Let's talk about investors starting, those who would have already made initial investments at some stages in their life, and what you should be looking at in terms of your own personal need system to make choices about what the investment funds that are available to really have a really balanced, diversified portfolio.
Good. As Simone was saying, depending on where you are in your life cycle, you will make decisions about which investments you would want to involve.
Is there a basic, the one that should transcend everyone? Just from my own curiosity, and others that would add to that in terms of diversification?
Well, everyone should be planning for retirement. Every single person that we know. You should always, and it's never too late to start. But of course, you should start as soon as you begin to work and have a salary coming in. We also say, we were talking about the Unit Trust Corporation and the funds that we have. But as we were talking about earlier, asset classes, we need to look at what other options there are available. Is there real estate? There's also credit union shares. You also have other income funds that you can invest in. These are all things that we can explore to have a diversified portfolio and to provide balance to your portfolio. As an example, just a basic example, you know we always bring in sports analogies. For example, if you have a netball team, and you have your center who's attacking and is also defending. You have your wing attack, you have your wing defense, and one is going to the goal, the other one is guarding the goal.
I think you played netball.
Not very well, but that's a different topic. So you have this team, and none of them are replicating each other. They're all complementing each other. If one of them has an off day, you find the rest of the team picking up the slack. That essentially is what a diversified portfolio does for you. So by choosing investments that are geared towards retirement, which you must have as part of your, or should have as part of your portfolio, having short-term goals, medium-term goals, as well as long-term goals such as preparing for your college education for your children, you have that balance there, that synergy there, and it helps to smoothen the progress towards achieving your financial
How do you advise investors at different stages or different levels, I should say, of risk averseness? Because one person may be pretty adventurous, also dependent on where they are in their lives, in their financial lives, and their income and their assets. Another may be a little more cautious in terms of how they're willing to extend themselves, even within a diversified portfolio.
At the unit trust, we have, as we have said before, a range of funds. Actually, we have 10 funds, and they are geared towards people of various appetites. Because as we could appreciate, particularly...
I like that, various appetites.
Various appetites, okay, because the economic climate now that exists currently is very tenuous.
And people want to protect themselves.
Absolutely.
And they have the responsibility and the right to do so.
Sure. Sure. And therefore, we gear our funds towards that. So we do have funds for the faint of heart, okay, that our fixed income funds that are stable. What you put in is what you get back.
You're guaranteed that.
Guaranteed that. We even have the funds for those who may be a little more adventurous. They want to step out in the water. They want to dip their toe. Our growth and income fund. The good thing about that is that it is equity based. So you have that movement. You have that little sense of risk, because of course it's the stock market, etc., that these ones are invested in.
And people should understand, even within those, the equity funds, there are also safeguards built in for you.
Yes.
So let's talk about the safeguards to give people that level of confidence, because people may feel we're talking about an exorbitant level of risk, and it's not necessarily so. You're just being honest about the volatility of some of them, but there are safeguards built in.
Absolutely. And the growth and income fund is our key example of that, because unlike any other mutual fund, the growth and income fund at the Unit Trust Corporation has that guarantee built in that protects your capital investment, that once you are prepared to make that capital deposit with us, that principal deposit, and throw it behind your back, don't look back for the next 3 years. We are guaranteeing you.
What are the minimum investments? What is the minimum investment where that is concerned?
1 unit.
1 unit?
Yes.
And you can build from them.
build.
And even during the course of the 3 years, can you add to it?
Absolutely.
So you can continue to build on it within that 3-year period.
Yes.
But of course you can't withdraw, but you're guaranteed what you put in to a certain extent.
That's right.
So in essence, Paul, what we are trying to say is diversification lowers volatility. It helps to balance out the asset classes involved in your portfolio, help to balance out each other and smooth the progress towards your financial goals, and it helps to increase the potential for you to earn steadier returns as well on your overall investment.
As one grows into one's portfolio, the life of one's portfolio and tenure, how possible and probable is it for one to reassess every number of years to see that I want to, okay, expand, change, add here, subtract there, and is that something you'd advise people is really proactive in looking at your portfolio as it moves through the years?
Absolutely, and we have in-house a financial advisory and wealth management unit that will help you along the way in terms of the changing needs that you will have at any given time. And that is how...
For example, if you get up in the morning and have 6 babies.
Exactly. Or if you decide down the road that you want to have 6 babies, you need to start planning from now. So these are the things that we have to look forward to. Always have your goals in sight, understand what the time horizons are, allocate them correctly and objectively, and take the emotions out of investing. And those are some of the things that we talk about.
Is that possible? Be objective about the facts and what is proactive for you.
Yes.
With that said, it's much easier to be objective when you have developed a habit. And wealth management is a habit and a plan.
That's right.
How young should people start involving their children in bringing them to the Unit Trust Corporation, to exposing them at a very young age, teenager, to this sort of habit building, good habit building endeavor?
Well, we have funds that you can start from the time you're in nursery. So once you have been enrolled in a school, a nursery school, etc., you can come into one of our children's funds. So these are the things that we encourage from the time that a child has the opportunity to grow and to learn. We expect parents to help foster that and foster that savings culture and investment culture. And we always try to go out towards children, schools, etc., and give them the education that they need so that they understand, why did mommy take out this for me? Why am I getting this as a gift? These are things that are important to me for my future and for parents to understand the need for it as well.
And Simone, what can you tell viewers now to reiterate for them? Once you're employed and you have income, you should be looking at investment. It's not for the rich. It's not for those who you feel are the hoity-toities or extra. But it is for everyone, because it is wealth management, it's developing good habits, and it's really protecting yourself in the future and investing in yourself.
Absolutely. And you're very correct, Paul. You are never too young to start. It is, us as parents, it behooves us to inculcate these things into our children, the savings pattern. And therefore, when they see us acting responsibly towards our funds, they will do the same thing. And it's very, very wise that children start learning the habits of responsible savings from as young as 18, because at 18, you can come in and open accounts for yourself.
Ladies, thanks for being with us. The website once again is
www.ttutc.com.
.tt.utc.com. Thank you very much,
Thank you so much.
And Simone Downer. Always a pleasure having you guys here.
Thank you.
All right, and continue your good work. We've been talking to our friends at the Unit Trust Corporation. You can go to their website for more information. You can go to our website for a link to their website, which is ctntworld.com. On behalf of the entire team, thank you for viewing. Join Disha Ramachan, James Saunders, and Ian Wallace tonight at 7 o'clock for the C News at 7, and have a great day.